Bueno. Bueno, muchas.
Thanks to everyone for being here with me today at the Liceo, the Opera House of Barcelona, a very special place for me as well. I wanted to begin by telling you a bit about the context for you to understand what this process has been like for me emotionally speaking. In May of 2019, we decided, for me to have surgery in my foot, scaphoid bone, a very complicated injury to recover from. And we went to Portland some months later with the ambitious desire to play after 6 months of recovery. Well, they said it was possible, and we did everything possible, and things were doing well until we had a new fracture line in the same bone, which, of course, was an important blow. From that point on, we had to reevaluate everything, and we decided to have a new surgery on my foot with an experimental therapy that was being used, and wait. Not just to be able to play again, but even from my quality of life and health in general. Many of the doctors weren't that sure of how things were going to go. I don't think there were too many people that believed that I would be able to recover and be able to play again at that time. At the age of 39, 40 years of age, with all of the games that I've played. But I'm a person that believes in challenges. Those of you that know me well, I think everyone here knows me well. And I really wanted to fight for what was improbable. I wanted to one day being able to play in front of my daughter. And we worked to that end. As always, the work of Joaquin, my physiotherapist, for over many years, was very important here as well. The role of Raul Lopez, a former colleague, a former teammate and friend, with his experience, having gone through 2 very important knee injuries. His input was very important. And then there was a team in San Francisco with Marc Guillet, the therapist from there, in order to see what happened, just to keep going. It came to a moment in which I am very relaxed. I was very relaxed before all of this uncertainty. If my career had ended, which is what it seemed, I was at peace with the situation. But at the same time, I had the desire to reach something even greater. And when it seems that things are going well, I had the opportunity, talking to Juan Carlos and then with Saras, to be able to join the FC Barcelona team and play. Something that wasn't in my plans, that I hadn't expected. And I want to thank them for their confidence, for having given me that opportunity. They were very special months for me, of contributing to the team, of joining the team in March. And my first game in April, we were all very happy, and I've been able to really establish a great relationship with all the players. And I think it's been one of the most beautiful periods of my career. And being able to play once again with my family, with the national team, with all of my colleagues from the national team, all of my teammates from the national team. It was something very special. And we weren't able to come away with a medal, which is everyone wanted, but just being able to play was a great success for me. But today, putting it all on the scale, I'm here today to tell you that more or less what everyone is imagining is that I'm going to retire from professional basketball. It's a difficult decision, as you can imagine, after so many years. But it is a decision that I've really thought over, and we have to change. I have to change gears now and know how to enjoy. And one of the things that I wanted to do was to finish my career playing and having fun. I didn't want to end up on crutches with operations at the end of my career. So I'm very grateful to all of those that have made that a reality, that have contributed to making that reality. I won another league with Barcelona, the team that I began to play with 16 years ago. I started when I was 18, and then playing the Olympic Games with my teammates from the family, from the national team. So that's something very special. So thank you all for that. Thank you. I'm going to leave this here. Throughout a career, especially one as long as mine, at the end you work with lots of people, you interact with lots of people, and I think that you have to be grateful to many people. As a young man, when I was even a junior, they told me the important thing is not just to make it, but also to stay there too. And I heard that, and I said, yes, that's true, but I've never tried to stay there. I've tried to improve, to grow, to get better every day, every year, and not establish any limits, not let anyone put limits on what I could do. And to that end, I've had many people that have had a great influence, that have helped me, that have had a great influence in my life and my career. And in the end, nothing in life is relevant or important if you don't belong to some kind of a group, that you don't belong to some kind of a team. Nothing that you can achieve by yourself really has a relevant merit, I think. And today I wanted to begin by thanking the press that have accompanied me, the media that's been with me on this journey. Thanks to all of you. Well, in the end, our work, what we do, reaches people. People follow us because of the work that you do. And I want to thank the support and the affection that you've shown throughout my career, and I hope that you'll be there as well for other initiatives and projects that I want to work with, and some of them even leading. To the fans, well, reflecting on this, sometimes you don't realize how important it is for us to have fans that are watching us and following us and conveying that energy. And we've been able to play a sport where many people can come to see us, can come to the arena to see us, and that's something that now in the time of confinement and pandemic and the whole thing, not being able to play in front of an audience and only a very small percentage, well, that's something you appreciate, but when it's full, I mean, there's nothing like it. It makes you feel like a very special person when you're in front of all those fans. So I want to thank all of the fans for their affection and their support all of these years, for those that were where I was and those that were far away. The admiration that I receive is always overwhelming, and I am very happy for that. I also want to thank different people who have helped me in a special way throughout my career. I mean, I can't thank everyone, and please don't take that into consideration if I don't mention everyone, but all of the physiotherapists that have worked with me, all of the trainers that have worked with me, all of the coaches the people from the communication, the press department, the equipment managers, all of you have done your work, and you have helped for the teams that I've been on to function properly, and we've been able to do what we had to do, so thanks to all of you. Among those, I would like to mention one person that was extremely important in my career, which is Pepe Casal, who took me when I was just at my beginnings. When Juan Carlos and I went into Barcelona, I had to make a physical change if I wanted to compete against men, first in Europe and then in the United States, and we worked almost 10 years together. So I want to thank Pepe for his work. I think you're around here, Pepe. Thank you very much, Pepe. And Joaquin, of course, 17 years working together. I think that our relationship goes beyond just work. So if I have been able to extend my career, it's been thanks to your involvement. Thank you. And over so many years, you can imagine that I have had hundreds of coaches. The figure of the coach is very important from the early stages of training, and I want to thank all of those that have been able to come here to be here with me, because in the end, I have tried to learn from every coach, and there are always things that stay with you. You don't always realize it, but there are things that stay with you from when I was a child playing basketball, and I'm going to share some anecdotes so that you can understand it, the effect that a coach can have in your career. For example, when I began to play 6, 7, 8, 9 years, my first years at the sports school, I remember Mikel, who's here today, who showed me the concept of the triple threat. I said, what's this, the triple threat? Well, I still remember that moment. I still remember the practice session there at Pista Roja, that it was, an outdoor cement, and fortunately we've been able to remodel it. But these are little things that stick with you, even when you're a kid. Also, Juan Jose Campos. Juanjo, when I was around 13 or 14, I went to Cornellà, and he made me play as a guard at one point. I was a player that I think until I was 18 or so, I was a forward until I was 18, 19, because I was very thin, and I didn't like contact. I mean, that's the way it is. That's what it was. And Juanjo made me play as a guard, and that's something that I always have in my mind, because training always has to go first, before the performance. That was at the Layeta. We were playing against the Layeta on their court. I don't know. It took me 25 reverses to make it all the way up the court, but he helped me. He put me in a different position, and he helped me to understand the role of a guard. Juan Montes, because he believed in me and for the opportunities that he gave me. And when I was a junior, you get a little bit, cocky. You think you're good. And Juan taught me a little bit about humility. That is key in life. And to play defense a bit, because I didn't really stress defense very much. And he said, wait a minute, who's the player that you admire? Tony Kukoc. He said, well, imagine that you're defending Tony Kukoc. You're not Tony Kukoc. So he, would use that type of exercise with me that at first I didn't quite understand, or I didn't buy into it, but I did eventually do it. So thank you for trusting in me. Kim Costa had his importance as well. Those that don't know Kim, Mark knows him because he was a coach at Girona. But he's someone that's really on top of you on the court when he really stressed defense. And it was good for me, but in that year of transition between a junior, semi-professional to a professional. So I thank him for the practices that we had at 8 o'clock in the morning at the Picadero Arena gym. That was very helpful. Aito for having given me the opportunity to debut with the first team of Barcelona, with the senior team, and many conversations I had with him about more than just basketball. It's not just basketball and scoring points, but the intellectual life, knowledge, interests. And later I've had coaches such as Phil Jackson and Greg Popovich that have been great coaches, known world over. But they also emphasize the importance of reading, of cultivating your mind, of taking an interest in other things, of having perspective in life. So I would like to thank all of them for the contribution that they have made in my life, not only as a player, but as a person as well. As I said, I have been part of tremendous teams. I've been very fortunate in my career, and I've had great teammates. Many of you are here, and I really thank you for being here. Those that haven't been able to come, I know that you have other commitments, and it wasn't easy. I don't give people lots of opportunity to get ready because I'm sometimes a last-minute person, but I wanted to mention a few of them. I'm going to try to be brief. My brother Mark, because we began playing as kids, and in the backyard of our grandparents' house, and to have a younger brother where we could play with an outdoor basket. It was always very special, and who had the same love for this game. He had it clearer than me. He really understood it better. I was always a little bit more cautious until I really saw that there was a possibility. I didn't believe it. And to have a brother who was close to me in age and to be able to play together and see how you competed against me and always tried to beat me. And I was always saying, wait, you can't beat your older brother. You can't do that. But it was always a motivation for me to see your desire to overcome and to just see your just your attitude. So that's been very, very special. And I'm sure that we're going to continue to see very special things beyond basketball with the foundation, with the Gasol Foundation, or with the Basket Girona, or whatever project, any project that we do together. To the family, the national team, I think I have to make the Laureus Award. We were given recently a Laureus Award to all of the work of the Federation, not just the work that we did that has been done for so many years. But now I talked a bit before with some of my friends from Mannheim or the Lisbon World Championships, Junior World Championships. We've always had a team, and I think that spirit has always been maintained throughout the years, something very special. Apart from playing basketball, had a great time and didn't have any complexes when it came time to play. They just wanted to go out and compete. So that I could mention everyone from that generation, but I would really like to highlight Juan Carlos Navarro, because apart from being the great player that he's always been, I think there are very few talents such as him on the basketball court. But you, Juan Carlos, showed me something very important. You showed me the concept of friendship, the importance of friendship. When I was 16, I went to the Barça. My life had been my family, my home, studies, and basketball. And little by little, you opened up to me my vision, my views, and you said, listen, this is what it's like to have a friend and to hang out and to do things together. So even though sometimes I got in the way of your dates with Vane, but things didn't go so bad. I guess I didn't interfere too much, that you're together now. So I'm very happy, because until then I really didn't understand the idea of friendship, and I was very focused on my stuff. So thank you very much, Joaquin, not only because you inspired me as a player, but also when we were young, you were a reference for me. We were able to play on the national team, half a season together on the Grizzlies until they traded me, and so thank you for being a friend all this time. And I wanted to also make a special mention to my teammate Kobe Bryant. I really would have liked for him to have been here. But that's life, isn't it? As you know, sometimes life can be very unfair, and we miss him and his daughter Gigi a great deal. But he taught me to be a better leader, a better competitor. He showed me what it meant to be a winner. So I have always considered him as my older brother. So thank you, Kobe. To my family, my blood family, my parents, my brothers, and I think I'll never be able to thank you enough. Thanks, Mom, Pop, for everything. Adria, Mark, Christina. The family is everything, and we have been very, very lucky to have you as our parents. As you know, my family pretty much parked everything to accompany me to Memphis in 2001. They put everything on hold when I started the adventure in the NBA, well, because I didn't think that I would be chosen in such a high position, and I was. And so they accompanied me in everything. My parents didn't think twice about it. They said, let's go with him. We can't leave you alone. That's something that I will always be grateful to, also to my brothers. And I hope that experience has also been useful for all of you. But I think it drew us closer together as a family, if that's even possible. But my parents gave up their careers. They put them on hold. They went to a country where none of us really even spoke the language. We left our friends and the rest of the family behind, and so that was difficult to do. So thank you to my parents and my siblings for that. And as far as my thanks, I want to thank Kat as well, my wife.
My best friend, my wife, and now the mother of our beautiful, beautiful Ellie. You have brought the most amazing and important thing in my life, in Ellie. And the last 2 years have been crazy. I think we moved from city to city. I think we say that we moved like 7 times. And you have taken responsibility on carrying those moves, and you have kept the cool. And that's been incredible. And I couldn't have picked a better person to share life together. So I feel like I'm one of the luckiest men in the world. Thank you so much. I love you. I love you too, Ellie. You're the best. And I love you, as we say, forever and always. Love you.
And now, after these very emotional moments, I think the easiest part is now. And now what? What do we do now? I was talking with Saras yesterday about what it's like when you give up a professional career, and some of my ex-teammates that are here, you know what that is, and how you can face that abyss, that difficulty. Fortunately, I have been preparing for this for years. I have seen that, I'm aware that you can never be sufficiently prepared for a moment like this, but I've invested in this, in a professional team to help me to position myself, to explore different channels, to look at projects, to start up projects, to get them settled. And from here, I would like to thank my work teams, both the foundation team. I'm very grateful to all of them. We're doing a great job, as well as my professional team for their professionalism and for helping me to really, establish this present. It's no longer future; it's the present now. I've always remembered something that I read years ago, which says, "The price of greatness is responsibility." Sometimes people say, "Oh, you're so great, you're so big, you're so wonderful." Well, I've tried to be the best I could. But if you take on that role of being a leader, of being great, you have to take on certain responsibilities, and that's what I want to do. I want to return to the sport and to society everything they've given to me. They've given to me. For example, as a member of the International Olympic Committee, I was elected by the athletes in Tokyo, so I could be. They voted for me to be a member of the athletes board, and it's very important to me to be able to be with the CADE, the Advisory Board of Sports for Spain, the basketball academy that we've been doing now for 10 years. Every year we try to make it better every year and to give more to the kids, not just basketball, but values that I have learned from my parents. And philanthropy is very important for me. Since 2003, I am an ambassador for UNICEF, and my role has evolved. And now they have named me a global champion for nutrition and the end of childhood obesity, which is what we work on in my foundation. So that pandemic and that puts childhood at risk all over the world. So I'm going to be focusing on those projects, and I'm going to be making efforts. And one of the objectives that we have is that there should be a national plan against obesity in Spain, and that we can bring together all of the players, all of the agents that are involved in this and have an impact on these young kids. And that's something that we want to carry out. Also, I have invested and advised in the area of health and sports to many companies. Health and sports, something that I have loved and followed and been close to. So companies like Better Up, or companies like Overtime, companies like Therababi, and some others that I will be announcing, as time goes on. But it's investing in the future, in health and sports, and in the evolution of things, and having a certain amount of influence in that. That's what I want to do. So, to finish, beyond the awards that I could have won, or the titles that I not win by myself but been a part of, the most important thing is your day-to-day. It's enjoying the present, enjoying the moment, and enjoying it with the people that we love. So that's what I'm going to do from now on. That's what I've tried to do always, and I'm going to continue on that. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, de verdad. Esto.
Thank you. Thank you. This isn't a goodbye. It's not a farewell. We're going to continue. It's the end of my career as a player, but there are many things that are open, and the relationships that I have with the people in this room will continue, will carry on, and they will grow. And so the possibilities of doing important things are many. That's the excitement that I have, and that's what I'm going to work for. So thank you. Thank you. And I think my little girl is tired. What's wrong, sweetheart? Thank you. We now have some time, 10 minutes for the press that's here for questions, and then another 10 minutes for the press that's connected remotely. Say hello. Say hello. She likes to be the center of attention. Questions? Yes. Hello, Pau. On the other side, Pau? The other side? Up here? Albert Diaz from the COPE radio. I would like to know how you want to be remembered after your days as a player. Well, as a player that has enjoyed himself, that has given his all, that has given his maximum effort, that's tried to do things as well as possible, and that has, given his fullest. And in the end, I think playing until the age of 41 with everything that I have played, I think that's not bad. And I'm very happy and very pleased to have done it. But I'm also very grateful. I'm very grateful for having had the career that I've had and for having received so much affection and support from so many people. So I suppose that. Hello, Pau from Barça TV. Thanks for your trajectory. I wanted to ask you what it has meant for you to begin your career at FC Barcelona and end it at FC Barcelona. How important has that been for you? Well, he's speaking in Catalan. Well, it has been a reward. It has been a gift, actually, that I didn't expect. And for years now, people have been asking me, will you go back to FC Barcelona? Will you end your career there? But when, I kind of avoided the question because when you play in the NBA, you're competing against the best, but the opportunity and the circumstances made it possible, made that a reality. And that's why I'm so grateful to the club. First of all, to Juan Carlos, to Saras, they opened the door to me, so they've been very special moments. I've been able to play and compete in a Final Four. We made it to the final, unfortunately. In the final, the game went the other direction, and we won a league at the Palau, at the Barcelona Arena against Madrid, who's our great rival. So, I mean, I think I'm very, very fortunate in general because to have been able to do that. Pau? Yes.
Hola, Pau, ¿cómo estás?
Jordi Rovirosa from TV3. I'm very happy to be here. I hope you know that it's a very emotional moment. Remember when you scored 4 points, 1 basket, 2 free throws? It was your first game. We did a story, and you said, Nacho, how have I done it as a rookie? 4 points, and that's it. Did you expect at that moment that you would have the enormous career that you've had? If they had told you, would you have believed that? No. No, I think that my career has gone way beyond my dreams and expectations. And for that reason, I focused on working and doing the best I could and seeing how far I could go without establishing any limits. I've always been very demanding of myself, so I've never been a conformist. So, I didn't want to just go to the NBA and play 20 minutes like many people would love to do. I have always wanted to reach a higher level because I think that I've always been able to do it, to play at a high level. And, the expedition that went to Memphis, 300 people. Well, I didn't play the game I would have liked to, but 4 games later, I was already in, doing really well. And obviously, it was hard at first to play so many games. When I had played with Barcelona back then, that didn't have as many games. So I've always been very demanding of myself. And as years go by, things become much more relative. And always recognizing the support of your parents. Yes, no matter what happened on the court, I could go back to the apartment that we had in Memphis to my family. So as a friend of mine says, humility. Humility. First and foremost, humility, and that's it. Pau? I'm from Gigantes del Basket. Thank you for everything that you've given us over all these years to Spanish basketball in general. At what moment did you realize, or to what point do you realize what you have meant to Spanish basketball from the point of view even of the fans? And then how did you reach this process? How did you come to this decision that it was time to stop? Well, during such a long career, it's hard to assimilate everything because you have to focus on your day-to-day, and you can't let the good or the bad that happens around you influence you. And as I said before, I'm very grateful because the affection of the fans has been exceptional. No, not exceptional, more than exceptional. To be able to go and to anywhere in Spain, and for people to cheer you on and to applaud you and to say such good things about you. It's something that I've really have loved, and I haven't taken it for granted. It's not easy to go to the Real Madrid's arena and have the fans applaud you. So I think this puts everything in perspective. Basketball, has had a positive growth all over the world, and the only thing you can do is to be grateful. If I had played water polo, it probably would have been different. My level of the recognition of me would have been different. So I've been fortunate to play in a sport that's followed by many more people, that where you can feel that support a little more, because the support are the people that are around you, your friends, your family. Those are the ones, those that are there all the time. And the decision was made at the games. After the games, I wanted to take my time, see how I felt. Put it all on the scale. Even before knowing if I would be able to play again or not, I knew that I was coming to the end. I knew that I was really, taking a risk. The doctors were saying, risk, you can play perhaps, but it's more probable that if you break something else, you may only be able to swim and to ride a bike for the rest of your life. And I said, well, wait a minute. Well, I'd like to play like my parents did with me and to be active and run around with my kids. So I took the risk, but I think we played our cards right. We handled it well. And the fact that the pandemic kind of stopped everything, it gave us a little more room to maneuver. And I said, I'm going to go forward and let the foot dictate what happens. And that was in my mind. And after the games, I got the confirmation. I had a desire to be at home more, to spend more time doing other things. And you have that flexibility to say, well, if I want to do this, I can do it. And if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. So these are things that you think, things that you've won. But I'm so active that I know that I'm going to be doing lots of things. There'll be lots of things that I'm going to want to do. So you can't go from such a high level of activity, such as the NBA and basketball, to this. So that's pretty much been the process. That was the process. Sonia Oleard from Catalonia Radio. I wanted to ask, after a career with so much success, where you've won so many recognitions and awards and titles and rings, what is the most special moment? Maybe what we think it is not what you thought it is. What is what is that moment that really was hardest for you to attain and that was most satisfying? Well, when they've asked me what was the greatest thing I won, I have to say that my career is a sum of moments. Without one moment, I wouldn't have had the next. So all of the moments have been important and decisive in one way or another. As you mature, as you get older, you start appreciating things more. You see as time goes by and that you've been adapting. I'm also happy that I've known how to adapt myself, adapt to different roles, different positions, and to enjoy them as well, because if not, you get frustrated. And so I value each moment of my career at the same level, in the same way. In the end, it's more work, more effort, perhaps, for less time of enjoyment. At the beginning, everything is easier because you're younger, you have more vitality, you have more energy, and you just keep going. And the people around you keep you going in the right direction. And that's what I've had. I've had a great group of people around me, both as family and professionals, that have helped to keep me on track. Thank you. Now let's answer the last two questions. Pau Mosquera from CNN Spanish. You were telling us about your future projects and how you want to return to society, or give back to society through sport and health, etc. But do you see yourself in any way as a coach in the future with the national team of Spain or FC Barcelona, or even on the other side of the ocean with the NBA? Well, being a coach is something that I could consider, but you can ask the coaches that are here. It takes lots of time and effort. And Saras, good luck tonight against Zaragoza. And in the end, it's a very high dedication. I mean, it's a high commitment, even more than that of a player. You have to put more hours in. And as you can see in this photograph here, what I wanted to symbolize, we kind of did it this way, is the versatility, the flexibility, just a broad range of things that I want to do, of desires and wishes, not just one. So since I'm a person that's very demanding, to be a coach, you really have to commit to it. I'd like to look into maybe being a consultant in the next year or two, look at the executive world. That also requires lots of dedication, but I think it has a bit more flexibility. We'll see. Maybe I've got the wrong impression, but I've already begun to put, sow seeds and talking to different teams in the NBA about possibly being involved or seeing how they work and exploring different teams there, and also to learn. This is a learning process to continue growing, and we'll see where we end up. Up here on your left, John Tejedor from Cadena Ser. I'm going to ask you a question in Spanish. You have been talking for about a half hour. You've talked about the people that have accompanied you and the values that you have developed while playing basketball, and that says a lot. But you haven't mentioned that all of this has led to a tremendous, award, a collection of awards, playing for the national team, for your NBA teams, for Barcelona, etc. Has this felt short, or do you feel it was a long time? Well, I think life in general feels short. You realize that we're getting older and time flies. So that's why I was saying that it's so important to enjoy the moment. And what I've won is there, my accolades are there, and I feel proud, of course, of that, because they've always been challenges, they've been goals that I've had, and no one gives it to you for free, no one gives you a medal, no one gives it to you. You have to go out there and win it, and against teams that have, were wanting to win as well. So I think I value all of that in its, proper amount or context, but it doesn't change your life. So I'm very grateful for the things that we've been able to achieve, but it's been thanks to being part of special teams with special players, with special coaches, and with special professionals helping us along the way. And I've done my part. I've contributed my part. And that is basically the way I see it. Thank you. Now let's go to the press. We are going to give the floor to Emilio Scudero from the newspaper ABC. Hello, Pau. How are you? Well, first of all, I wanted to congratulate you for these years of success. I wanted to thank you for all of the years of your career. And I wanted to ask you, it's clear that all of those that have been able to watch your career, you have left a tremendous imprint on all of us. But I wanted to ask you, what would you tell those children that haven't had a chance to see you, that are starting to play now, that are starting to do sports, or that like math? What would you tell them? What is the advice that you would give them to be able to be a legend in their areas like you have been and are in basketball? Well, thank you very much for your question. I would just say that. Discover what it is that really you're passionate about. The sports should be present in your lives in one way or in another. And that they should try to be the best that they could be, that they can be, without limits, but without arrogance either. And, well, that's all. Just that. Enjoy it. Enjoy it a great deal, as much as they can. Now we have Jaume Rielo from Radio Nacional de España. Hello, Pau. First of all, I would like to thank you for all of the success that you have obtained. Can you hear me? Yes, I hear you perfectly. So I'd like to thank you and congratulate you. You have made many of us dream, and many of us stay up late at night watching your games. So I would like to thank you for all of that. You have had a very successful career, but I don't know if there is one thing that you didn't get, something that you would have liked to have won, or some player that you would have liked to have shared the dressing room with, you would have liked to have as a teammate. Well, the titles, medals, I would have liked to have won them all, but that, life and sports don't work that way. Well, when you do your best, when you give it all, when you work hard, when you commit, there should be no little thorn of what you didn't get. You value what you did get, what you did achieve, and you just keep moving forward. I mean, you really can't think about what you weren't able to achieve because it doesn't depend on you alone. And that's all. I mean, I've been able to win many things, and I'm very grateful for that. I don't think of what I haven't done or what was missing. That's not my philosophy of life. That's not my mentality. Thank you. Let's give the floor to Noelia Roman from Around the Rings. Yes, we can hear you now. Good afternoon, and congratulations for your spectacular career. I wanted to ask you, looking to the future, what are the first goals that you have, or the first objectives that you have as the representative of the athletes in the Olympic Committee? Well, my objective is to listen and to learn, to understand how the Athletes Commission works, how the International Olympic Committee works. I've had meetings at the International Olympic Committee because what is the experience? What's the opinion of the athletes? How do they feel? And if I'm going to act on if I'm going to speak on their behalf, I have to know how they feel, how they've experienced different things, what problems there are, how we can improve. I traveled to Madrid to meet the president of the Spanish Olympic Committee, with Alejandro. I met with the Association of Athletes of the International Olympic Committee to listen to them, to have contact with them. We've had several meetings with the International Olympic Committee, with the Commission specifically, to do that, to learn how everything works. And little by little, I think in November, we'll have the first meetings in Switzerland. And I think on the 10th and 9th of November, we'll be in Lausanne. We'll be meeting there and listening, learning, and seeing how I can help. Thank you. Let's give the floor to Rubén Parra from COPE. Hello, Pao. First of all, I would like to thank you for everything that you have allowed us to enjoy, for all of the hours of sleep that we have lost. But I thank you for that, too, because it was worth it. Many of the questions that I had have already been asked. But now that you have put an end to your career, who is the worst rival? I mean, 10 years from now, when you think back, oh man, this guy made things difficult for me, considering that you played against the best, and you've been one of the best, but who is that player that you most, although you didn't want? Sorry, I took sleep away from you, but it wasn't my intention, but I hope you enjoyed what you watched while you were awake. I think we've had some very emotional and some exciting finals, and it's great to be the first one that kind of opens the door. And so that's also been something very special for me. Difficult rivals, I've had quite a few. I don't know if there's one that I would highlight over everyone else, but I think that the competition, the rivals, encourage you to work harder and to be better. I've had the great fortune of playing against great players that have forced me to work hard and to try to beat them. There are 3 reference players that I've had in the NBA that were Nowitzki, Duncan, and Garnett. That were, when I entered, those were 3 of the biggest stars in my position, and any one of them was very difficult. And playing against Mark, emotionally, it was also fun. We've always had our little battles. We never let you'd think you'd let your brother score a basket. No, that never happened that way. We always did our best to stop each other. But it's been so special to be able to play against your brother at the highest level and to achieve things that no other brothers have achieved. Very special things that that stay with you and that go beyond, that transcend you, and they're beautiful. I'm very fortunate and very privileged to have lived such special things. Thank you. We give the floor to Ana Buell from Euronews. Hello, Pao. Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank you for allowing us to enjoy so many years the excitement of your basketball. But I'd like to know, in this new phase, you plan to use part of your time for training the youngest players to creating some kind of a Pau Gasol Academy all year long. Well, thank you very much for the question, and it's a pleasure to have been able to allowed other people or made other people enjoy basketball. But the academy that we do in summer, we are considering the possibility of making it something. Well, we want it to be yearly, but we're thinking that might be a way of going in the direction of doing something all year long. And I'm also involved in the Basket Girona project of my brother Mark, and there are lots of young kids there in their basketball school. And we're working also on a project with an academic institution and with a sponsor that's here today, Banco Santander, to create a training program for athletes to help them in moments of transition, such as the one I'm going through now, and to provide them with knowledge and tips for doing it successfully. So I'll tell you things as we go along. I've talked to you of some of them. Some of them are still, shall we say, in the oven. So we would like to have an impact in those younger kids, but most of all with the sport. Now, the last two questions. Elena Jimenez from Televisión Española. Hi, Pau. Thank you. These 20 years have gone by so fast. And a few weeks ago, you were talking with Jorge Garbajosa. What kind of homage, what kind of a tribute could be given to you for everything that you've given to Spanish basketball? I don't know if your shirts should be hung for number 4, number 16 here at Barcelona or at the Staples Center. Or you deserve a tribute. But those of you, well, which athletes do you think can take the name of Spain, the Spain brand, forward? And how's your handicap? Perhaps now with golf, that's a way in which you can play with Rafa Nadal. Well, I think that in the end, part of what you try to do as an athlete is to inspire those that are coming up behind you. And without mentioning names, I hope that impact, we've also been able to have that impact. Spanish sports has been, the level has been very high for many years. We've been doing things well. I mean, a relatively small country on a worldwide level, but we've done well. And we hope that will continue. But we have to continue to invest in sports. It's important. Just because things have gone well doesn't mean that we should give them less value. We have to continue investing in infrastructures, in facilities, and making it possible for more boys and girls to participate in sports, especially in a world that's evolving so quickly, especially in a world where technology is so present. So I hope that's the direction that we can go in. And also, well, golf is being like an escape valve for me. It allows me to disconnect, and in the process of recovering, it allows me to be in contact with nature and to have the challenge of a sport that's complicated and that you need to spend lots of hours working on to improve. But for the moment, I'm enjoying it. And the last question, Pilar Casado from COPE. Hi, Pau. Pau, all of us know that there's a great deal of sacrifice involved in sports. I would like to ask you, what sacrifice have you made for it to be you giving up the sport rather than the sport giving you up? Well, I've always said that when you do what you want to do, you're not sacrificing anything. So when you've played as long as I have, you can only be thankful. I mean, it's not It's not a sacrifice. Everything has its moment. Everything has its beginning and its end. And this is the end of a phase, of a stage in my life, but my identity, my character, my person continues, and I'm just going to channel it into other opportunities, into other projects. Thank you very much. Okay, we finished the question and answer stage of this. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Bueno, vamos. Pues vamos a...